On today's episode, we're going to talk about what to expect when you're expecting a move to Germany. See what I did there? If you're planning on moving to Germany, congrats. But you're probably wondering what to expect. What do you need to prepare for? What do we do? Hello, Lieblings. I'm Maudie, science fiction and fantasy author who's been living in southern Germany since 2014. Today, we're going to talk about preparing for that move to Germany. I am quickly approaching my 7th anniversary in the land of beer and pretzels, and I thought it would be a good time to go back and talk about what was expected to help streamline my acclimation into German life. But before we get started, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell if you haven't already. Here on Adventures of Lamadi, we talk about writing, living abroad, and everything in between. I think some of these skills can be helpful regardless of the country you're moving to. I found myself already quite prepared beforehand because my mom was also an immigrant. If you're new here, hi, how you doing? In case you weren't aware, I am half Peruvian, half American. My dad is 100% American, whose family can be traced back to the US all the way to the late 1700s. We Tishners have been here a while. My mom is Peruvian, whose background is tightly wound with Italian relatives. My mom came to the States in the 80s and literally did most of the legwork in terms of learning how to be an immigrant, and I grew up watching her navigate what that meant and how she very successfully acclimated to US culture without giving up all of her Peruvianness. I'm not going to lie, I was at a huge advantage when it came time for me to follow in my mom's footsteps and immigrate to Deutschland back in 2014. And the most frequent question I get is about the language journey. How much do you need to know before coming to Germany? How long will it take before your German is good enough? And many more. I will say that between my mom's experience being a Peruvian in the States and my experience being an American in Germany, you're going to meet a lot of the same people. The amount of English or German you need to learn before coming will be dependent on what part of the country you're moving to. One of my aunts moved to the States back in the 70s, but she moved to Connecticut. We have an older relative who also came over even further back, and this is an area of Connecticut that has a Latin grocery store, Latin television, everyone's Latino, so there's no need for English. Everybody already spoke Spanish. On the other hand, my mom moved to Podunk, USA, also known as Indianapolis, in the 80s. At that time, there were only like 5 other Latinos. I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean. And they were either married to other Americans or at least non-Latinos. Like I said, there are more than 5. I'm just trying to drive home the 2 extremes here. But my mom had no choice but to learn English and to learn it quickly. And that is similar to Germany. If you move to a big metropolitan city like Berlin, you can get away with English a lot longer than, say, my situation when I moved to Ravensburg, where most young people knew English, yes, but the expectation to not only speak German, but to be fluent as soon as possible was much higher. Now, once you start that journey to bettering that new language, like I said, you'll meet similar characters regardless of what country you're in. The first one, which is both sweet and slightly aggravating, are the ones that immediately hear your accent or hear you struggling, and they immediately switch to English. This is not really in the States. This is specifically German. Well, other languages that, English is not the main language. It is sweet because especially in the beginning when you're struggling, it's a lifeline. And you are so grateful for that. They really mean to be helpful. And they also might want to practice their English and are delighted to have a native speaker with them. But it's also aggravating when you're one of those people who do struggle with languages and have been in Germany for a while and you are trying your best and you understand everything just fine, but you're struggling with sentence structure or conjugation or whatever. And after all of that, it's aggravating because you feel like a beginner all over again. Which then leads me to the next type of person, which you will find in both countries and everywhere, which is the one who expects you to be fluent almost immediately, or that you are not learning fast enough for their liking. Everyone learns languages at different paces. I know that I am one of those who learns quickly. German is my 3rd language, and while in college, I studied up to 4 languages, usually 2 at a time. I knew compared to others that I was doing quite well. And yet I still got shit from people because I still struggled in some ways, especially in those first 6 months. And I think the moment that I decided where I was just not going to, care anymore about it was when somebody had compared me to another coworker who was also an immigrant from Greece. I was literally asked why it was easy for that person and not easy for me. And I had to point out to that Greek friend over there had spent a good portion of her childhood in Germany before going to Greece and then came back as an adult. At that point that comment was made to me, I had only been living in Germany for about a year or two. There was really no way to compare these two situations equally. And the fact that this person didn't see it shows that some people are just going to have their opinions, and that's just that, their opinions. Language acquisition for a child is worlds different than someone who had to learn in their late 20s. But not everyone's going to understand that, and thus you will get criticism. Like I said, you will find those kind of people everywhere. And trust me, no matter how long you live in a country, they will always find something wrong. My mom has lived in the States for about 38 years and still gets shit occasionally. Like it doesn't matter in the country. You're just going to have ignorant people that are going to give you shit for it for the rest of your life, for the rest of your natural life in that country. But then you will also meet folks who compliment you on your journey. And even if you're not where you think you should be, it really means a lot to have someone at least recognize that you're trying. Like the saying goes, you'll catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. So having that recognition, it is a great way to motivate you to push on during those days that learning the language feels impossible, especially in the beginning. What about you? What kind of people have you encountered while living in a foreign country trying to learn their language? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me. That's pretty much it. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up. It lets me and YouTube know that you like this kind of content and you want to see more. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or if there's a certain topic you'd like to see on this channel. If you want fun escapism, my space fantasy The God Queen is available in ebook, paperback, and hardback. The sequel, The Last Imperator, is also available for pre-order. And if you have pre-ordered, don't forget to sign up for the TLI pre-sale giveaway. If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get the first 6 chapters of The God Queen, as well as the prequel short story, The Knight and the Goddess. So sign up. Also, if you've read any of my work or the work of your favorite author, please leave reviews. They really help us authors out, and it is free to do so. And don't forget to connect with me on social media, whether it is through Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And that's it. Until next time, adi!